Hello, everybody. Warm welcome to Amazing You podcast and YouTube channels. And thank you to the viewers and the listeners for watching, sharing, and subscribing. And today I'm very excited to have you all watching the podcast. And this is the channel where stories of resilience, triumph, and unwavering hope come to life. And in each episode, we dive into the inspiring journey of individuals who have faced the toughest challenges heads on and emerged victorious. And our aim is to be a beacon of inspiration and offering a guiding light to those navigating through difficult times. And whether you are dealing with a health challenge or with a professional setback or facing some personal struggles, this channel is dedicated to uplifting your spirit and showing you that even in the darkest moments, there is a path to hope and triumph. So please join us as we share powerful, inspiring stories that transcend adversity and reminding you that resilience is a force within us all. So be prepared, everybody, to be inspired and find the strength to navigate life's challenges. So this is Amazing You channel where hope takes center stage. I am your host. My name is Dr. Rani Thanakodi. I am a clinical hypnotherapist using rapid transformational therapy method. I am a Mars Venus life and relationship coach, astrologer, tarot reader, breathwork coach, past life regression practitioner, and life force practitioner. And today, everybody, I have the great pleasure to introduce you to a very special gentleman. His name is Sean Robinson. Sean is an author, he's a speaker, and a motivator who focuses on self-improvement, mindset shifting, and habit forming. Sean works in the construction industry. He is also a volunteer firefighter. And Sean lives with his wife and 3 children in Ontario, Canada. Sean is also an author, and the book that he publishes called Going Dry, My Path to Overcoming Habitual Drinking in his book. So warm welcome, Sean, to Amazing You.
Hi, Randy. Thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here and a very great intro. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Sean, looking at your bio, it's really inspiring what you've overcome. And I would like you to start and share with the audience briefly about your story.
Okay, well, the quick version, essentially, I grew up in a family of 5, my parents, 3 boys, and I was the oldest of 3, very masculine environment. My dad's a mechanic, so growing up, we helped in the garage, and it was just, it really set us up for that. Fix it yourself, be tough, don't show any emotion, just the things that he thought were true. My dad thought was true with how he was raised. And growing up in that environment, feeling like I had to do all those things, fix it myself, it was just a matter of figuring things out on my own. Then it took me a long time to figure out that we aren't expected to do that. We aren't expected to just figure it out on our own. Mm-hmm. But like myself, I held that for a long time to be true and a big part of my identity. So when I got to about the end of 2020, I found myself at 320 pounds, just a very toxic routine with, like, I call it habitual drinking because it was like the social drinking with, weekends or the evenings if there was a function or different things. And while I never felt like it was an addiction, I'm sure there was some tendencies there. So at 320 pounds, just feeling miserable physically, mentally, in a bit of a dark place, or as I call my rock bottom. I just needed to make a change, and it had never occurred to me that I could challenge any of the things that I thought were true about, doing things like having drinks because it's a Friday, or, not exercising or doing yoga or listening to podcasts because I didn't feel like it was something that, a construction type of this background of this variety, it introduces or listens to. And, reading self-help or even speaking about self-help was in another dimension, and as far as, my old self. And it was really taking a place of fixed mindset and like, fear of being different, to a place where I could allow more in and try things that I'd never tried before, and open up to things like journaling and, a lot of the tools that I would learn that would really be to my benefit and really to those around me.
Wow. Moment in your life when you hit that rock bottom that made you realize that you have to change it. What happened? What did you do to change that habit of drinking?
Yeah. Well, working in construction, it's an active job. And while I'm in the office now, at the time I was in a kind of a position in between. So, that active job and not being able to have the energy to do that, but then also the volunteer fire department and all of the things that was, very active, and finding myself at that weight and then really having no energy for my young kids and for myself and my own health. And, that routine of the habitual drinking and all that entailed, overeating, late nights, hangover days. Like, it was just a disaster waiting to happen. And at the end of 2020, I found myself on the scale and looking at it and really realizing that I just can't do this anymore. I can't keep adding to these numbers I'm seeing every week on the scale. Right. And that visual and that feeling really compounded for me and into a bit of a drive to say, like, I need to do something different. And just in an effort to be physically and mentally healthier, or to start on that path, I started with a New Year's resolution, January 2021, to take a break from drinking. Okay. It was never in an attempt to start to become an author and to start speaking. It was, I need to figure this out, and I need to be a better health. And it seems like taking a break from drinking is a good idea.
Right. Thank you so much for sharing that. Okay. And what were some of the practices that you started to involve in your routine when the day you took that resolution? What were some of the practices you incorporated in your new life from that day?
When I got through about the halfway point of January, there was other people around me that were doing whatever their version of that resolution was, and they gave up. I think it's common for resolutions to just not be fully committed and to go back. And I've done that myself over the years, but this time it felt different. And this time, while other people were doing their own thing, I wanted it to stick. I really felt in that moment leading up to it and being on the scale and not sure, beating myself up really in the journal and just really unsure. I just needed more help. And I kind of started quietly asking for help. And I really thought that podcasting and books and self-help and things that I didn't have to communicate with other people was the best avenue. And so I just started looking for some content that I could listen to on my commute to work, that would help give me some tools. And as I started to open up to that space and the things I was learning about habit structure and the cycles of 21 days or more to get to a point of rebuilding a habit or a lifestyle, and trying it myself, like using things like brushing my teeth as a starting point to just see how this thing works. And, I was brushing my teeth. My dental health wasn't great before, but I was brushing my teeth twice a day, circle the morning, circle the night on the calendar, testing it out, learning that 100 days is a good mark for changing lifestyle, and just documenting it for 100 days. And once I got to the end of the 100 days, I would, stop tracking it. I would test the theory to see if it stuck, to see if the craving or to see if the desire to not do or do the thing anymore was there. And I was learning that, like the brushing my teeth example, it was like, I just couldn't leave my house, or I couldn't, go to bed without doing this. It had become a part of just what I did now. And as I started to try that with different things like, dieting and eating or not eating certain things, going for walks, reading more books, it really compounds across everything that I tried. This concept of, documenting and tracking and giving about a 3-month window of whatever before I decided that it did or didn't work.
Thank you so much. And you said you are listening to podcasts and reading self-help books, Sean. And I'm sure you've read many and listened to many podcasts. And which one was the most inspiring podcast and why?
Because I wasn't from a space, I didn't feel like I was from a space that I could talk about it. I didn't know anyone in my circle that was listening to these things, to self-development podcasts. Like I had friends listening to some of the sports and comedy channels, but I was looking for help and not wanting to admit that I needed that help. So I just started searching. I started looking up, different interviews, and I found on School of Greatness with Lewis Howes, I found a lot of celebrities. There was people that I'd least heard of before. And, it's a lot of pressure to start listening to some of the professionals and the doctors and, the formal material, if you will, when I wasn't so sure and how to get into it. But I could listen to someone like Jim Carrey or Terry Crews or Kobe Bryant or any of these celebrities and athletes kind of talking about their different struggles, and they had their books or their media that they were promoting. And, I could get into that, and it really created a wormhole of development where, it led me to the professionals. It led me to the Dr. Carolyn Leaf and Andrew Huberman and the different places that I wasn't prepared for at the beginning. So kind of using that as my stepping stone without even realizing it was such a massive impact for me.
Yeah, that is incredible, because the more you learn, the more you listen, the more you realize how much you don't know and how much there is to explore. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And you said you were reading books. Can you share with us one or a few books that have impacted you the most during those times? Sure.
Absolutely. There are several. When I started in podcasting and I was listening to, like Sean Stevenson, he has his own podcast and he wrote a couple books, Eat Smarter and Sleep Smarter. And they both really impacted me a lot. And the Sleep Smarter and all of the things with the quality of sleep and what you're doing before bed and all of the routines that I didn't have. I was leaving my phone in another room or on the floor, and I was not checking my phone at bed anymore. So then it allowed an opportunity to read more. And then, I got into Atomic Habits by James Clear, Mindset by Dr. Carolyn Dweck, Brianna West, The Mountain Is You. A lot of those books have been very influential for me. And really, I've started to follow a lot of those authors, like Charles Duhigg with The Power of Habit. I just finished his book, Super Communicators. And, these are all great books.
Thank you for sharing that. And you said something very interesting that I think it's worth drawing the attention to for the audience. You said that while you made it a habit to keep your phone away. Can you tell us a bit more? How did that help you? Because I know so many people who are watching and listening keep their phone next to them until they sleep. And some people told me that they have to listen to some YouTube or something before they go to bed. Their phone is always next to them. So can you share with us how you got into that routine? Because that is a great routine to disconnect with the mobile at night before bed.
There's a lot of stuff on it, from your circadian rhythm and what your body naturally does when you're staring into the light. And there's different sciences with different glasses you can wear for blue light, but your body's not supposed to at bedtime be staring at any kind of light. So the concept of being in the dark and even though you have a bit of a light for a book or whatever, it's a bit different because if you're scrolling social media, like I was scrolling social media, and you could just get caught checking on people or checking on things or visiting different sites or how many different social media channels there are and your algorithm and the videos and it's easy to get into a bit of a wormhole with just that and
Yes.
checking on all the things um so I started to kind of pay attention to that and I wanted to learn more. I wanted to read more. And, I heard about some of these books. I even had a ton of them just sitting on the shelf that I thought someday I'd get into. And just setting the phone across the floor meant that I could still use it if I needed to. Someone called in the middle of the night or whatever. If I woke up for it, it would be available. But I think the biggest thing is it's a habit. It's something that we're used to doing. And, like any habit, we have to consciously stop doing that thing or start if it's, another example. So while it's easy to say, oh, I have to have my phone beside me because of XYZ, really, we're just telling ourselves that because we don't want to change. As soon as we want to change and we want to say, you know what, I'm going to read more, I'm going to put the phone across the room, then it's not even there. It's more work for you to go and get it. But when it's across the room, then it is for you to grab the book off the nightstand or, the magazine or even just turn the light off and go to sleep. We keep ourselves awake for a bunch of things when really, maybe just turn the light off and then you'll fall asleep.
Yes. And that is so powerful, to be able to do that and to just leave the phone in another room and just get to bed, read a book, and just connect with yourself, spend some time with you, reading something and lower your brainwave, because when you are in bed and you are reading something, it's like calming your mind, getting ready to sleep. What were some of the benefits that you noticed in your life in doing that?
Well, my quality of sleep was much better. It's not to say it's perfect because I'm still up longer in the day than I'd like to be. But with 3 young kids, it's, you got to fight in order, it's the people that want to go to bed have to fight the people that don't want to go to bed. So, but I mean, my quality of sleep was better. I had more energy in the mornings. And I was learning a lot. The books that I was reading were development books. They were nonfiction and memoirs, and I was getting a lot of good information and getting a lot of things that I could try. It was a lot, to that I wouldn't get before. There's no way I can remember all the videos and all the stuff on social media that I was scrolling through before. I wouldn't remember any of that. But now, like by reading and by absorbing this content, like there's actionable things I can do, or there's a reference to something else that I could look into that gives me that, and really just learning a lot about myself and the things that I was doing to hold myself back, just not being open to changing something I was used to doing, or inviting a different concept, or like Adam Grant in his books about just rethinking about something a different way and getting a different result. It's it's very powerful to give ourselves that opportunity to just keep learning.
Yeah, it is indeed very powerful to give ourselves the time and the opportunity to grow, and I think that's so important to do in our daily lives. And looking at your journey of how you transform your life, Sean, from being somebody who was drinking, who was overweight, to now being energetic, being more happy within yourself, having written a book. What has been the greatest lesson you've learned for yourself along that journey, Sean, that you can share with the audience?
I think my greatest lesson and the biggest takeaway is that we have to stop thinking about what we want to work on as the mountain that it feels like it is. And what I mean is to lose 10 pounds, 100 pounds, like obviously 100 pounds is a lot more difficult. You know, anything that I've been able to work on, if I thought about the big picture as my only goal, I was going to fail. I wasn't going to get there. And I think that's common. We don't give ourselves enough credit to keep going because it's so difficult and it's so hard and it's going to take so long to get there. So, you know, the biggest thing is to just break it into smaller pieces. We're not worried about 100 pounds, or we're not worried about finishing even one book. We're just worried about a few pages. We're just worried about 1 pound, right? And we don't want to set a deadline to it. You want to set a deadline to a goal. It's nice to work towards something, but you know, if we set ourselves up and we don't have, you know, if we have to lose 50 pounds this year and we get to, you know, August and we've lost 10, well, there's no way I'm going to lose 40 pounds in 4 months. Like we just start to beat ourselves up. We start to excuse it where, you know, if you continued and all you lost was 10 pounds by the end of the year, that's a win because that's 10 pounds lost. We have to celebrate that. It's not to beat ourselves up that we didn't get all the way there. We got some of the way there. And that has to be something that we stay proud of. So to break it down into small pieces and you know, set smaller goals and you know, work towards the bigger goal, but you know, celebrate when we get even a little bit there. It's all progress.
I love that you said that because, you know, in life in general, we tend to beat ourselves up. We tend to be hard on ourselves. We criticize ourselves. We swear at ourselves. We say all sorts of nasty things about ourselves. But I think it's very important to love ourselves, to who we are, and to celebrate our wins. Like you said, even the smaller wins. That's so important. Because we have to be our own cheerleader. Nobody will celebrate us if we do not celebrate ourselves. So it starts with us. Appreciating who we are, appreciating our wins, valuing ourselves, you know, and I think that's so valuable that you've shared that to the audience today. Thank you. Yeah.
And it took me 36 years to build the person that I had become at that moment where I needed something to change. So it doesn't mean that it's going to take me 36 years to get out of it, but I have to give myself some credit to say that, you know, if I don't have this figured out in a couple of months, that it's going to take a bit more time. And, you know, when we start to think about it that way, you know, take this long to build to the version that you are, give yourself a little bit more time, give yourself, because really I didn't put a deadline on it, but I just continued to work on it. And after a couple of years, it was like, wow, I've done this much this far. I've lost this much weight. I've read this many books. Like it becomes that you're all of a sudden halfway or more up that mountain that you were so reluctant to get started on when you know, it was the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's very important to take a little small step each day, but consistently, you know, like that's what you did. To be consistent, take the small steps and celebrate yourself along the way. The small steps, the small wins. We can't wait for the big wins to win the lottery and all that, you know? It's about celebrating the small things in life. That's what life is about. Enjoying every moment, enjoying every person we meet, and enjoying the present. And that's super powerful because when we can enjoy the present, it shows that we are open to more things, to receiving more things. Yeah.
And not beating ourselves up, because if you want to sit by the bed and watch your phone and to do the TikTok thing or whatever, you know, every once in a while, right? You have to be able to do that. If you want to eat a piece of cake and you're on a weight loss journey because it's someone's birthday, like don't avoid all of these things, because then it becomes way harder. And if we never feel like we can have the things because you know, we're taking that break or we're avoiding it for a while. That's why diets don't work. That's why a lot of our habit structure when we go to relearn these things, that's why it doesn't work, because it just feels like we're not allowing ourselves a bit of that room. It's not to say have a cheat day and eat an entire cake. I don't mean that, but It's just giving that little bit of credit so that if you want to do that thing you're avoiding, or you want to, do that in a bit of a limited quantity or whatever, give yourself that room, and don't beat yourself up because you've made all this progress to date.
Yes, that is absolutely correct. It's about treating ourselves as well. We need to treat ourselves as the most important person, as the person that we love the most. That's so true. Yes.
Mhm.
Thank you, Sean. And my other question to you is if you can tell us about what inspired you to write this extraordinary book that you wrote, which is called Going Dry and My Path to Overcoming Habitual Drinking.
Well, my book or any of my other content videos, really, it was just to speak to myself, to talk to my former self and where I was at when I was the most confused and the most vulnerable and the most in need of it. Because, like I said, and I started to look into some podcasts and finding people, celebrities, or somebody I felt like I could relate to. I was looking for that story of my own. Like I was looking for that. So everything that I put out, it's kind of to speak to where I used to be and where I'm at now, in a way that someone might be able to relate, right? If anybody's going through, and I know these are common things, it's, someone can find a bit of inspiration because of the version that I'm putting out to get themselves started. That's amazing. And that's really a lot of why I decided to do it. And it took me a long time. Like when I got to the end of that year that is based, my book is based on, I'm still not drinking, but for the sake of the book, it was based on like that 2021 year. A friend of mine asked me, how are things going? And I said, I could write a book. And that expression to me was like, there was just so much I had been through in that journey and different things. It was like, I could have used this when I got started, and to be vulnerable and to put it out there and to share that much of my struggle for the sake of who I used to be was really what gave me the confidence to really put it out there where it might help someone.
Definitely, Sean, your story will resonate with people because they are at this time that you and I are talking. So many people are facing some very tough challenges, Some are drinking, taking drugs. I know of close people in my surroundings who are in a very dark space right now. So what would you like to tell those people who are experiencing some very dark moments, who are stuck, who are in a very dark place? What would you like to tell them today to uplift them, to help them? Sure.
My biggest advice is that our identity is up to us. We can decide at any point what we want to be, how we want to identify. If we don't want to be a drinker, then we can say that I don't want to drink anymore, and we can work towards that. So the second that we understand that we can do anything and be anything we want, then we can start to think about how we can get to that point. And anybody that's going through a struggle, there's going to be difficult times. It's what it is, of course. But you can do it. You can get there. And if you take it down into small pieces, and, like drinking, it was, I just started with 30 days. It was, I'm going to do this for the month of January, and then February, and then 100 days. And then what if I could do this for the entire year? And by breaking it down, whatever it is we're working on, you break it down into, small pieces like that. And just like the programs say, just one day at a time. There's a lot of strength in that. And if we can do or not do whatever it is we're working on, do whatever we want to get away from, just that one day at a time. And then all of a sudden it's been a week, and then it's been 4 weeks, and then it's been a few months. And wow, last year, like that flew by. We just start to compound on that one day at a time, or even 1 hour at a time. And, before we know it, we're getting there. We're finding the things that replace that thing we're doing. If it's drinking, that doesn't mean you start to go and, start eating a lot. It's maybe that it's going for a walk, because that trigger or that moment where I would normally have that thing, it's like, I just need to go and get away from it. So, going for that walk, or, watching that movie or whatever it is for the person. It's we can get there. We just need to tell ourselves that that's what we want to be and start working towards it.
Thank you. That's very, very helpful. And can you share with us how you continue to maintain your positive outlook and purpose-driven life, Sean?
I just keep going. There's definitely a struggle with the three young kids and just the busy life as we all have. And if I can do everything in a day, I will. But most days, it's just a little bit, right? It's just just a matter of the 10 minutes I can put into reading or just going for that small walk or even if it's just not eating a box of cookies. It's like just that little bit that I can do in a day that gives me a little bit more towards who I want to be and then what my end result would be. It's a lot of positivity. It's a lot of growth for me. And, if we can just do that little bit to keep going each day and, if we've got more time, to really hit it hard, then, do it when we can, but just keep going when we can.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. And what are your goals and aspirations moving forward, Sean?
I've got some other ideas for my next book. It's, because Going Dry was my first year. That was the year 2021. And then, we're a couple, 3 years since then. So I definitely have, another story, another version. So, I'd like to work on that. And then I really just want to continue to be a better example and inspiration to my kids and really avoid all the things that I went through growing up and just try and give them a better, example. And, it's not to say that, my parents did anything it's a different time. It was a different generation and there was different tools and, different limitations back then. And it's not a matter of holding on to what could have been done then. It's more focusing on the things I can control and what I can do right now and then showing up better for me, my wife, my kids, and really just continuing on this journey, just continuing to learn, continuing to share, and just working on helping other people realize that they can change their mindset, they can change their identity, and work towards being who they want to be or who they'd like to be anytime they want.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful that you keep doing that and that you've got so many things that you want to work on and that your book, another book is coming that is super exciting. Yeah. And can you tell us more about how can people contact you, reach out to you if they need any help? Can you share with us a bit more about that?
I have my website. It's seanrobinson.ca. It's probably the best place to get in touch with me. There's a contact me section there that emails me directly. And then I have on all my social media accounts. There's links to everything on my website, but I put out TikTok videos, YouTube videos, just inspirational content, shorts and themed content. And I put out a newsletter every Tuesday, just around a certain theme of things I'm working on with the podcast highlight, just different material, and it's all free. And just anywhere there, it's kind of where I'm putting that out and giving back, and anybody that needs anything that can use the support, I'm happy to help.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Sean, I would like to say a big thank you to you for sharing your time. I know you are super busy with the children, with work, and really grateful for you taking the time to speak to the audience. And before we finish, I would like to ask you, is there one last word that you would like to tell the audience today?
Just one last word is that you can do it. There's nothing that I've done that is special to, that isn't possible. So one of the beautiful things is if somebody's done it, that means it's possible. So find the inspiration in the people that have achieved the things that you want to achieve, and that means you can do it too.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sean. And I wish you a lot of success in everything that you do, in your new book that is coming, and in every endeavor in the future. And thank you to the audience for watching, sharing, and subscribing. And see you all very soon. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank you very much.